Chapter 2. Dilemma. The old monk remained silent, his gaze shifting between the two children, particularly lingering on Lin Jingyu. He couldn't help but marvel at the boy's talent, yet he wondered, such potential. But why is his temperament so extreme? Just then, Zhang Xiaofan took a step forward and asked, "Hey, who are you? I've never seen you before." Grass Temple Village was near Qingyun Sect, where Taoism prevailed and followers of Buddhism were rare. Hence, Zhang Xiaofan's question was justified. The old monk glanced at him, a hint of a smile appearing at the corner of his mouth as he replied, "Young friend, you were at death's door just now. You could have admitted defeat, so why did you stubbornly persist? If it weren't for me, you might have lost your life." Zhang Xiaofan was taken aback. He couldn't refute the old monk's logic, but when push came to shove, he found himself unable to articulate his reasons, leaving him standing there in a daze. Lin Jingyu glared at the old monk, then grabbed Zhang Xiaofan's hand and said, "Xiaofan, this old monk is eccentric. Let's ignore him." With that, he pulled Zhang Xiaofan away. Several other children followed suit, clearly looking up to Lin Jingyu. Zhang Xiaofan subconsciously followed along, but after walking a short distance from the temple gate, he couldn't help but turn back to look inside. The sky was growing dark, and he could vaguely see the old monk still standing there, although his features were now blurred. Late at night, thunder roared, and the wind whipped up, stirring the dark clouds in the sky. The atmosphere was tense, foreboding a storm. The old monk remained seated in the grass temple, his eyes scanning the surroundings. In the distance, Qingyun Mountain was shrouded in mist, and all was silent except for the howling wind and thunder. What a fierce storm! A bolt of lightning streaked across the sky, illuminating the lonely grass temple in the wind. The old monk, now standing at the temple gate, looked up at the sky with a solemn expression, his brow furrowed. In the village to the west, a thick black mist had inexplicably risen, churning and rolling. The old monk stood in the grass temple, staring fixedly at the black mist. Suddenly, the mist surged and spiraled upwards, heading straight towards the outskirts of the village, moving in the direction of the grass temple. Its speed was astonishing, reaching the temple in an instant. The old monk, with keen eyesight, saw a child among the mist. It was none other than Lin Jingyu, whom he had seen during the day. His expression darkened, and without hesitation, he made his move. With a swift motion, his thin figure rose from the ground, piercing into the black mist. Somewhere in the darkness, a voice tinged with surprise exclaimed, "How?" A few muffled sounds followed, and the black mist abruptly halted, hovering in the air above the grass temple. The old monk clasped Lin Jingyu under his ribs and slowly descended, but a portion of his robe had been torn off. In the dim light, Lin Jingyu's eyes were closed, his breathing steady. Whether asleep or unconscious, it was hard to tell. The old monk didn't release him. Instead, he looked up at the dark mist in the sky and said, "Your methods are profound, but why harm innocent children? You risk tarnishing your own reputation." A hoarse voice emanated from the mist, saying, "Who are you to meddle in my affairs?" Ignoring the question, the old monk continued, "This place is at the foot of Qingyun Mountain. If the Qingyun Sect were to know of your mischief here, your days might not be so easy in the future." The person in the mist snorted disdainfully. "What does Qingyun Sect amount to? They rely only on numbers. Bald donkey, stop talking nonsense. Be sensible and hand over the child to me." The old monk clasped his hands together and said, "Amitabha, as a monk, I cannot stand by and watch this child fall victim to your wickedness." The person growled angrily, "You bald thief, you're asking for death." With his words, a deep crimson glow flashed within the hovering black mist that had been swirling all along. In an instant, around this small grass temple, a strong yin wind rose, and the ghostly atmosphere intensified. Pose and blood banner. A look of anger flashed across the old monk's face. "Evil scum, how dare you cultivate such an evil thing that completely disregards morality and harms the world? Today, I will definitely not spare you." The hoarse voice let out a cold laugh, but didn't respond. Only a howl was heard, and a crimson glow surged forth, accompanied by a foul stench, as a two-jong-long red banner slowly rose from midair. At this moment, the wails of ghosts became even more piercing, as if countless resentful spirits were wailing in the night, interspersed with faint sounds of bones, chilling the heart. you villain, meet your doom." A voice boomed from within the black mist. Suddenly, a fierce and ferocious ghost face emerged from the blood-red banner, with triangular eyes, 4 in total, and sharp teeth and fangs. The bones rattled as the 4 eyes on the ghost face suddenly opened wide. With a roar, it solidified into a tangible form and charged towards the old monk with an incredibly bloody aura. The old monk's expression grew even more furious. He knew that the greater the power of the poison blood banner, the more innocent people would perish during its cultivation. To achieve the current imposing power, it would probably require the sacrifice of more than 300 people's essence blood to consecrate the banner. This evildoer was truly devoid of conscience. As the ghostly creature approached, the old monk did not release the child Lin Jingyu from under his arm. Instead, he used his left hand, holding the jade prayer beads, to draw a circle in the void in front of him, with a single hand forming the lion's seal of the Buddha's gate. His 5 fingers stretched out, emitting a faint golden light. In a moment, a golden Dharma wheel appeared in front of him, shining brightly, confronting the ghostly creature in midair. Such petty tricks. You dare to try ... double quotes. He hadn't finished his sentence, and suddenly his whole body shook violently. He felt a bite on his right wrist where he held Lin Jingyu. A tingling sensation spread throughout his body, his vision blurred, and the Dharma wheel in front of him wavered. At that moment, the ghostly creature ahead underwent another bizarre transformation. In the middle of its 4 eyes on the forehead, to sounds, another blood-red giant eye opened. A strong stench filled the air, and its power intensified. With a ghostly howl, a flash of blood-red light passed, shattering the golden Dharma wheel. It slammed heavily into the old monk's chest. The old monk was sent flying backward, and Lin Jingyu under his arm fell to the ground. Along the way, there were several muffled sounds, indicating that his ribs were probably all broken. After a moment, his emaciated body slammed into the grass temple wall with a boom, raising a cloud of dust, and the entire wall collapsed. Double quotes. The figure in the black mist burst into maniacal laughter, extremely pleased with himself.